I want to welcome you to the Ask Jeff YouTube channel. Here's today's question. Hey Jeff. Hey. Okay, so first, why weren't there any female authors of the book of the Bible, even though God's wisdom is given to all who ask? Second, why were the women going to Jesus' tomb to perfume him if no one could move the stone? Well, these are two really great questions that I'm going to hopefully do in a brief response. Number one, yes, God gives wisdom according to James 1 to whomever will ask. Yes, you see in Scripture that there are male prophets. There's even female prophetesses. However, your question proposes that if someone desired to be a part of something, that they somehow were being rejected even though they desired to be. I think the thing that's important to your first question is this. Moses didn't ask to write Scripture. Joshua didn't ask to write Scripture. Isaiah didn't ask to write Scripture. God chose those individuals to inspirationally and by preservation give us His Word. Now, again, natural question. Well, why didn't he use, quote, women? Well, you know what? There's a lot of different ways that I can answer that question. But at the end of the day, that's where you kind of have to just check it off to. He is a sovereign, all-knowing God who knows what he's doing. Does it seem strange to us, weird to us, maybe upset some of us? Well, there's a lot of things that God does that I don't like. Here's the problem. According to Isaiah chapter 55, his ways are not my ways. His thoughts are not my thoughts. Now, just as an aside though, I took anthropology in college. And you say, what does that have to do with this question? You do realize that it is very few societies, and when I say few, I mean literal. Very few societies in the history of the world have ever been matriarchal, meaning the women as leaders. The overwhelming majority have been patriarchal. Okay? Now, you may not like that. You may not be a fan of it, but it's the reality of the history of the world. Well, why would the Lord use a mechanism to communicate his word that would be rejected by the majority of the world just because of the vessel he used? Again, he is ultimately the wise one in the situation. Now, regarding the empty tomb, the women come to perfume it. Why would they approach it knowing that they could not roll back the stone? Remember in the Gospel of Matthew, it says there were 12 soldiers that were guarding the tomb. They were not guarding the tomb to make sure nobody got in. They were guarding the tomb to make sure nobody got out. And what I mean by that is, yes, they had the rumor the disciples were going to steal it, blah, 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 blah. My point there is they were all about keeping the body in, right? Well, if the women showed up with the spices, it was a tradition. You got 12 men there of soldiers. They could have easily removed the stone to allow them in, guarded them, watched them, and make sure that they did not take the body as they were commissioned to, I guess, observe. All that being said, they believe that the guards would have assisted them because all they would do is confer the death of the one inside of which the guards were assigned and paid to do so. However, we know the guards were knocked out, the angel removed the tomb, and why do we or they seek the living among the dead? Great set of questions. If you have one, send to askjeff.net. Maybe your question will be tomorrow's. Thanks for being a part of today's daily question. Now, we answer a question each and every day. Please feel free to submit a new question at askjeff.net. We may not have gotten to yours today, but we eventually will continue to be a part of this. Subscribe so you don't miss out on a question every day.